Hi everybody, I was requested to do a tutorial on how to tie the knots on a bracelet, but I thought I would go back even further than that and start off with how to even start making a bracelet, what all the pieces are and how you use them. So for this one, this is going to be super simple. I'm just using some elastic string. I'm using the 0.7. I like to cut a lot extra so that when I get to the knots, it's not too hard to tie them. So I double the string to make it stronger. I want it to be able to wrap around my wrist and have extra to tie. So that's about here. I'm going to cut that off if I can find my pliers. Okay, so I cut that. Now this is a beading needle. Okay, this is one that I got from Kiki's Bead Shop. Okay, so it has a little hook on the end here. So you're going to fold your elastic in half and then just use the hook to grab the string. Now I'm just going to stretch this quite a few times because the string has a lot of give, and if you don't really stretch it out ahead of time, then when you're wearing the bracelet, it's going to stretch at that point, and then you're going to see string in between your beads, and that is a no-no. So make sure to stretch your string really well quite a few times before you start beading. Okay, so I've got this pretty well stretched. You can attach a barrette or any sort of clip, even a paper clip to the end so that your beads don't fall off, but I bought these that are specifically for beading, so I'm going to put that on the end of my elastic. Just clip that right on. Okay, now I've got my beading needle. I have all the beads that I want to make laid out here. I want the knot to be in between two beads so I can hide it underneath. So I'm going to start down towards the bottom and I'm just going to follow my pattern all the way around. So I'll show you what I'm doing here. I don't know if I should record me putting all the beads on because that takes forever and nobody wants to watch that. So maybe what I'll do is I'll get to the part that's a little different and then I will turn it off and bead the rest. So I want to do bead caps around these different beads here. So I'm going to use one spacer. Again, all of this is from Kiki's Bead Shop, everything I'm using. And I'm going to use one of the enamel green spacers. And then one more round spacer on the opposite side. I usually use a really small bead in between the butterfly because it holds it up better. You don't really see it, but you can from angles, so I like it to match. But it just helps to hold the butterfly in place. If it's bigger, it doesn't work as well, depending on which butterfly and which bead you're using. So that's why I chose to do two small ones on the sides, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off and just continue to bead until I get to the end. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I have everything on the needle. This one is for me. Now I wear a 6.5, but I like my bracelets a little loose. So I normally make them a 6.75, but since this one's elastic, I left a bead off and I'm going to make it in between the two because I don't want it quite as loose as I normally make them when I'm using wire. So now I have all my beads on. I have my bead catcher at the end and I'm just going to slowly pull all my beads onto the elastic. I just dumped them all over. So let's try that again. I'm going to put them back on and I'll be back again. Take two. Let's try that again. Unfortunately, as most of you know, I have rheumatoid arthritis, so sometimes my fingers don't cooperate and I drop stuff all the time. So that's why I love having this board underneath me. It catches stuff because this is not the first and it won't be the last. So I've just slowly pulled my beads on. Okay, so now I'm left with a loop at the top. I'm going to stick my finger through that, and I'm going to remove my needle. Now I have two pieces hanging from the end down here. I'm going to take one of those pieces and put it through the loop. Okay, so one is through and one is not. Now what I need to do is move all of the beads from the two strings down to the loop. So the beads are right at the end of the loop. See that? Pushing them all down that way. Okay, and remember I already pre-stretched my string, so I should have no problems here. Okay, here's the bracelet. And now I'm going to tie this in a knot, just a regular old knot. One string, and then pull the other string. And now I'm going to wrap around twice. So I'm starting my knot, I put it under once, wrap it around and put it under again. And then I'm going to pull till I get to the bracelet and then hold it down, pull one side and pull the other. Now I've got two knots on the top. I'm going to pull the string underneath, and now I'm going to make two knots on the bottom. So you want to make sure that your beads, again, one knot, and then wrap it around twice. You want to make sure that your beads have a big enough hole that your string can go through the beads doubled like I did it, okay? But I also want to hide my knots. So if your beads have a little bit smaller hole in them, then you might want to go for a smaller width of string. So I'm using 0.7. 0.6 is usually as small as I like to go, just because it's stronger and I do not want somebody's bracelet to break. So I try to use as big as I possibly can. Now I have the knot in there, and I'm going to use, this is what I use. Okay, I am going to put some glue right on, oh my gosh, my whole tube of glue just broke, so this should be interesting. Normally it has a very precise tip at the end, and it literally just fell off. So I'm just going to let that plop down on the knot. Okay, I've got the glue on the knot. I'm going to pull both strings in one direction, and then I'm going to put the knot inside one of the beads so that it's hidden. And then after about 10 minutes, I'm going to cut off the extra string. So I'm not going to cut it yet because I want it to dry first. But here's the bracelet, and then I'll be back. So here we have the finished bracelet. Let me move the light over. And obviously this is butterfly themed. And there we go. This bracelet will last because I glued the knots and I tied the knots correctly. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments and I will get back to you. Thanks for watching. Bye.